Most people think financial collapse looks loud. Sirens, headlines, a single bad decision that ruins everything overnight. That is not how it actually happens. What really happens is quieter, slower, almost polite. Your life keeps moving. Your income still arrives. Your expenses feel manageable. And then one day, usually years later, you realize something irreversible already passed. Not a crash, a turning point. Today, we are talking about 4 financial turning points that most people notice too late. Not because they are hidden, but because they do not look dangerous when they happen. And right now matters more than ever because the timelines are compressing. Careers are shorter, costs are stickier, safety nets are thinner. The margin for error is smaller than it was for the generation before you. This is not about motivation, it is about mechanics. Let's start with how the system quietly sets the trap. For most people, money arrives in a predictable rhythm. Monthly salary, occasional bonus, maybe a side income. Expenses also feel predictable. Rent, food, transport, subscriptions you barely remember signing up for. As long as income is higher than expenses, the brain relaxes. That relaxation is the first danger. Because the system does not break when cash flow is positive. It breaks when flexibility disappears. The first turning point is when fixed costs quietly harden. At the beginning of adult life, expenses are flexible. You can move, you can downgrade, you can pause. Then success happens, or what looks like success. A better apartment, a car payment instead of public transport, a lifestyle that matches your income instead of your values. Each decision feels reasonable in isolation. None of them feel reckless. But together, they change the shape of your life. Your costs stop being adjustable. They become obligations. This is the moment most people miss. They think risk comes from investing or starting a business, but the real risk is losing the ability to adapt. When fixed costs rise faster than skills, you have inverted leverage. The system now owns you more than you own it. And the irony is cruel. This usually happens during your best years, when income is rising, when confidence is high, when fear is low. By the time you notice the pressure, options are already narrower. The second turning point arrives when time stops being on your side. This one is even quieter. People love to say time is money. That is wrong. Time is optionality. In your 20s and early 30s, mistakes are cheap. You can recover with effort. You can switch paths. You can absorb volatility. Then something shifts. Not overnight, not on a birthday, but gradually. Your recovery window shrinks. A lost year is no longer just a year. It's compounding you'll never get back. This is where math becomes uncomfortable. If you delay serious saving or investing by 10 years, you do not lose 10 years of contributions. You lose decades of growth. The system is not linear. It's exponential. Most people intellectually understand compounding. Very few emotionally respect it. They think they can catch up later. Later rarely arrives with the same energy, health, or risk tolerance. And here's the irony. The moment people finally earn enough to save aggressively is often the moment they are least willing to take long-term risk. Time was the asset. They spent it without noticing. The third turning point is when income peaks before awareness does. This one hurts the most. Careers have a curve. Skills age. Industries change. Energy declines. Competition gets younger and cheaper. but the mind anchors to the highest income year. People assume the peak is a baseline. They plan as if it will continue indefinitely. That is a dangerous assumption. For most professions, income does not steadily rise until retirement. It plateaus, then it softens, sometimes abruptly. The system does not warn you in advance. There is no notification that says this was your best year. Expenses, however, are happy to keep rising. This creates a subtle squeeze, not dramatic enough to panic, just uncomfortable enough to normalize. People compensate by borrowing against the future. Credit cards, longer loans, optimistic projections. That is not stupidity. That is system design. Debt feels like flexibility until income stops growing. Then it becomes gravity. By the time income decline is obvious, the leverage is already locked in. The fourth turning point is the most misunderstood of all. It's when the illusion of security replaces actual resilience. This often shows up as a job title, or a pension promise, or a portfolio number that feels big enough. People confuse stability with safety. But stability is fragile. Resilience is redundant. A single income is stable until it's not. A single asset class works until it doesn't. A single plan feels efficient until reality deviates. The system rewards optimization, but survival depends on slack. Most people optimize their finances to look good on paper. Few build them to survive disruption. And disruption no longer arrives once in a lifetime. It arrives every decade. When this turning point passes unnoticed, people realize too late that they built a life that only works under perfect conditions. No job loss, no health issue, no major economic shift. That is not a plan. That is a hope. Now zoom out. None of these turning points involve market crashes or dramatic failures. They involve normal decisions made in a predictable system. The system rewards short-term comfort and penalizes long-term rigidity. Quietly, patiently. By the time the consequences feel urgent, the leverage has already shifted away from you. And this is the uncomfortable truth. Most financial regret is not about bad investments. It's about missed inflection points. Moments when a small adjustment would have changed the trajectory, but felt unnecessary at the time. So here's the question worth sitting with. If your future self could point to one moment and say, that's when it turned, would you recognize it while it was happening? Or would it feel exactly like everything was fine? That question has no clean answer, which is why most people only understand it when it's already behind them. This content is for educational purposes only, and not financial advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making financial decisions.